Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Let's go back to 1982 when I was in 10th grade in high school. There was a girl I really liked named Tracy. She was super cool. She was kind of funky, new agey, punky, kind of a mix. And she was obsessed with Pink Floyd. Really cool girl. And I liked her quite a bit. We were good friends at the time and hung out with some of the same people. And I worked up the nerve to ask her out on a date. Now, dating in high school, this is video game related. Hang in with me. Dating in high school, and junior high, it could be a little awkward, and perhaps I wasn't the best at it. And anyway, so I asked Tracy out, and she said yes. I was very happy about that. And so I was 15 at the time, like I said, didn't have my driver's license, didn't have a car, so my mom had to take us. No big deal, it happens. And so my mom, we went over, found out where she lived, picked her up and everything. Back in the day when you had to ask, directions to someone's place or use a Mapsco or a map or something, no GPS. And so we went over there, picked her up. It was fun. My mom, drove us to the mall. We were sitting in the back seat, and friendly conversation. It wasn't too awkward or anything. And I said we were going to the movies. Now, this was in '83. I honestly have no idea what movie we saw because what I'm going to tell you is what I remember much more than anything good that happened on the date or later on or any conversations we had later because we never went out again. And here's why. So to me, our date was to the movies at the mall. And to me, in the early 80s, if you were going to the mall, you damn well went to the arcade. You absolutely went to the arcade. You didn't just go to the mall to shop. You didn't just go to the mall to the movies. You went to the arcade. And the mall this was the Northeast Mall in Hurst, Texas. This was a suburb of Fort Worth where I lived. And the Land of Oz was an awesome arcade in the Northeast Mall. It wasn't massive, but it always seemed they had the perfect mix of arcade games, of, coin ops, and of pinball machines. I loved the Land of Oz arcade. This is where I discovered Breakout, the machine that would make me love video games even more than pinball. This is the arcade where I discovered Asteroids and Pac-Man and Mr. Do, my favorite game. And it was a great arcade. I loved it. Me and my brother spent so much time there. I spent so much time there with my friends. Loved me some Land of Oz arcade. So I didn't tell Tracy ahead of time exactly what all we were going to be doing on this date other than I'll pick you up at whatever, 6 o'clock or whatever, and we would go to the movies. Or 7, I can't remember. But I remember I allowed enough time to be at the mall for around an hour or so before we went to the movies. Because, like I said, if you go to the mall, you have to go to the arcade. And there was nothing better to me than going to the mall, getting a slice of pizza, and maybe one of those crazy orange drinks from Orange Julius, and going to the arcade. It's just awesome, great fun. And it never occurred to me that she wouldn't want to go to the arcade. But anyway, so we got to the mall an hour early. And so we're walking around, and I'd say, hey, let's go this way. And we went to the arcade. It was an hour till the movie started. And she was kind of puzzled. We get there, and she's just kind of looking around. And I probably asked her if she wanted to play a game or something. The answer was no. It must have been because she just stayed there just maybe a minute or two and she just went shopping while I played whatever games I played. Back then, a game could last you maybe just a few minutes because games were very difficult and they were designed to eat your quarters. And, some of them you could play a really long time. And I made sure not to play Asteroids or some game that I had mastered that would take forever. I just wanted to play some games for a while, maybe some Robotron, maybe some Defender, maybe some, I don't know, Moon Cresta, I don't know. Anyway, so we were at this arcade, and I thought, hey, this will be great. We'll play some, two-player games or whatever. Typically, games were two-player alternating, but, she could hang out, we could talk while we played. No such luck. She went off shopping. And I wouldn't say she stormed off, but she definitely wasn't thrilled with getting to the mall early. You know, note to self and any dating advice, kind of lay out the plan you have for when you're taking a girl out on a date. Sure, mystery and adventure can be exciting. You know, maybe you could surprise her, but being surprised by going to the arcade, in this case, wasn't her idea of a good time. And so she sort of huffed off, went shopping. Whatever, I played some games. And later she came back to the arcade in time to go see the movies. And we did go see the movie. But I detected just sort of, the rest of the night, just sort of a distance, sort of a coldness, sort of a just dismissive attitude the rest of the night. You want some popcorn? Sure. Want a Coke? Sure. And we watched the movie, and I cannot remember what movie it was. Whatever movie this was, it paled in comparison to her disappointment or just her disgust with me for whatever, for thinking she would want to go to the arcade. I don't know if she was above it or just didn't like gaming or just thought games were for kids or whatever. And it seems like a lot of girls I dated around that era, high school era, weren't into gaming, which is kind of ironic, I suppose. But this girl, Tracy, definitely wasn't, and that was the last time we went out. She apparently either going on this date and not telling her what we were doing ahead of time, or just she was disgusted with video games in general. Whatever the case, we never went out again. We remained friends, but I noticed a certain coolness after that. And I've noticed sometimes with girls and women, if you make a mistake early on in the dating game, they don't forget, and they may never go out with you again or whatever, even if it's something minor, like the tragedy of going to an arcade before you go to the movies. Regardless, thank you for watching another video. I guess maybe I could do an awkward dating moment series, but anyway, thanks for watching. Thank you for hitting the like button. Let me know in the comments any experiences you had dating that are gaming related. Did you ever out with back in the early 80s, girls played video games obviously, but it doesn't seem like nearly as many of them now. And comic book conventions were kind of the same way, comic book stores too, where there just weren't as many females involved in that kind of thing as there are now. And so let me know in the comment, even tell me any stories back in the day, more recently, gaming stories related to dating, especially if you have a funny one to tell. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for liking the video. I will talk to you guys later.